Guys, I'm really excited. I have created an introduction animation for my videos. It's something I realized that we were missing, and I felt like the channel just needed it. And I think it really captured what this channel is all about. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. So without further ado, here is our new introduction animation for our videos, and then we'll get to the introduction proper. Hope you guys love it. Vroom, 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 vroom. Honk, honk. Get in, losers. We're going struggling. Vroom, 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 vroom. Hey guys, welcome to another ride in Struggle Bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. For today's bus ride, we are playing against a 12K on OGS, and this game features some important things such as not playing early second line moves and avoiding a term that we refer to as puppy go. If you are not familiar with puppy go, you'll have to watch the game to see what I am talking about. But we get ahead pretty early due to some basic mistakes, and then puppy go takes over and our opponent falls further behind. But still a very interesting game, and there's a lot to learn of from this one. So as per always, I'd like to thank our opponent for playing us today. I'd like to thank you guys for watching these videos, and I'd like to thank my Patreon subscribers for supporting the channel. So let's get into this game. Okay, here we go. We are playing against a 12K on OGS. We will be following the basic and the beyond the basic rules, and we'll see how well our friend does with them as well. So let's see where they go after the four corners have been played. Are they going to approach a corner or maybe take a side? They are approaching a corner. So I've been backing off a lot in these videos, so let's just do the other variation where we kick. This is another way that we can go with this. I would expect black to extend to F16, and then we can slide back. And now black has the choice of playing K17 or K16. That's the typical response here. This is also okay. The downside of this for white is black can look to play C17 later, but this is still fine. So we have Sente, and we've got some corners that we can go after, but we have this corner that we could enclose as well, and so I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do the small knights enclosure. We could have looked at the large knight. I probably wouldn't play either of the two fourth line extensions because of the third line stone that is already here. So I figured just close this corner, take away this nice extension off of these three stones. But if you wanted to approach the D3 stone or the Q4 stone, that would have been fine as well. Okay, and so our friend plays this unorthodox enclosure, but that is okay. So now we've got one more corner that really hasn't been spoken for, and that is Q4. And so let's go play the 3-3 again. We could look at O3, R6, all those options are fine. We'll just jump into 3-3 though. Okay, and so our friend looks to block this way. That makes sense. Wants to extend off of these stones. That is perfectly fine. We will extend, and let's see if our friend plays the Hane or extends or does something different. Let's see. So we get the Hane. We will respond in kind. And let's see what they do here. So this is a variation that we should all know at this point in time. If black chooses this way, we'd expect black to extend one more time here, at which point we will extend one more time to make sure that we're alive and healthy. And then black should extend one more time because otherwise we get the Hane at the head of 3, which is very powerful. And so black does extend one more time. And so now we have Sente. And so where should we be playing here? Well, all the corners are spoken for, so I think it's time to go to the sides. And so we need to look at what sides have the most potential for either player. And the top, there's pretty much no potential, right? There's very little room here. On the right-hand side, also, there's very little potential. On the left-hand side, there's some, but the bottom clearly has lots of potential. So I think that's where we need to play. We need to respect this strength, so we're going to play somewhat further away from it. So I'm going to play at J4. We could have looked at K4, K3, somewhere around there, but I just wanted to, give this a little more respect, right? It's important to stay to play away from strength, and that is true for both your groups and your opponent's groups. We don't want to get too strong to this wall that is looking to fight. So black plays this Hane. We can look at extending again, or we can just look at the Hane. The Hane is simple, and now our corner is nice and alive, and there's a weakness at Q2. Black should not play Q2 here. Black should not give us Sente again. But this is still a fine exchange to take as long as black plays away. If black plays Q2, then it turns into too early of a second line move. Or P2. P2 also reasonable shape, but there's no reason to leave this Atari here for us. So I'm curious. I'm going to play this Atari. This kind of breaks our rules, but I want to see if our opponent's going to respond to this because this is a good teachable moment. Black should sacrifice this stone. Otherwise, black is left with weak shape, didn't really get much of a reduction, and more importantly, didn't make this group any stronger than it already was. This group was already very strong. So more moves were not needed for that. So now, basically, we got Sente to play J4, and now we're getting Sente again. And so now we can just follow it up. And I'm just going to follow it up with M4. And you might be thinking, oh, this is playing a little too close to strength, but we have our own strength now. So the stronger you are, the closer you can play to your opponent's strength. And so that is all I'm doing here. I'm just looking to remove the potential here and just stop black from getting all of the points. I know it's very early in the game, but if you look at this game, we already have 3 corners that are pretty much secured. The top left isn't fully secured yet, but we've got the 3 corners. Black has 1. So we're going to be a little up on points to begin with. So just as long as we stop black from getting a lot more points on this, as long as we reduce their potential, then we should be ahead in this game. So black looks to play here. And so the question is, does this group feel in trouble? And I don't think it does. We've got 2 4th line stones. We don't have any stones above this. And so we don't really need to respond to this. And so the question is, is this Sente? Can we play somewhere else? And I think we can play somewhere else. And so I think we should look at playing the other big side, which is the left side. Again, we need to respect our opponent's strength. And so I don't want to play something like this. So either I would look to attach, which is a possibility, but more basic is I just want to play a little further away. So I'm going to play C9 here, just kind of split the difference between these strong groups and see how our friend responds to this. If another move gets played in this area, then I will have to strengthen this group. So black turns here, which looks to develop this side, but this side, there really wasn't much there. And so now black's looking to develop this area, but it's going to be tough, right? We already have a strong group here. This group was alive and still is, so this isn't Sente, so we get to play yet again another move on this open board, and we get to pick where we want that to be. So where are the large areas on this board? Well, it's got to be the top right corner, right? Or the top right quadrant. There aren't many stones there. So do we want to extend to the top, or do we want to extend to the bottom? To answer that, I think we should play away from strength. I think we should play away from this strong group. So I'm going to play up top. Since this group is strong, we either want to attach to it or play a little further away. In this case, I'm just going to attach to it. This is a strategy that I really haven't gone over much, but this can be used to over-concentrate your opponent's groups. So here, me doing this is saying, black, I already think you are strong enough. So if you get stronger, that is okay. So we're obviously going to block this. And then black plays here. Normally I expect the Atari, at which point we would connect. But black, we attached here and black didn't respond. So I think we should respond to that because we can treat this as if we had a stone at K17 and black attached. And if black attached, we would respond to this and we would look at the extension or the Hane. These are really the only 2 options. But because black has a nice strong shape here and we're pretty far away from our friends, the Hane is probably a little dangerous. So I'm just going to extend. This makes us stronger. and then black Hane's here as well, and we will respond. And we also have a cut at L17. So assuming black fixes the cut at J18, we are going to fix this cut. This is something I'm not interested in. The ladder does not work for us because black has this strong group over here. And so we need to protect this cut. And so that is what we will do with this shape that we should all know and love at this point in time. It is something that comes up in a lot of variations. And now black approaches here, which is good. This is at least consistent with what black was looking to do here. I'm just going to play this little move. It's not Sente. I want to see if black responds to it. We still have Sente on this board. We could play somewhere else. But I am just going to play here, just secure the corner a little bit. While I would consider this a mistake, it's not a big mistake. You certainly aren't going to lose games because of moves like this. And black extends, looking to make this a territory. It's difficult, though, because at any point in time, we could just play a move like R11. We're not going to play it now. It's a little too early to make a move like this, because black still has to play another move here, and even after then, we will be able to reduce it. So where is the potential on this board now? Where are the points? Because we have Sente yet again. And I think it's probably time to do something with this group. And so do we want to run to the center? Do we want to try to make a base? We already have a base. And it's going to be nearly impossible to get any points down here, because with P2 there and G3 there, if we play on this side, then black can come in this side. And if we play this side, black can come in this side. So there's really no points to be had. So I think it's probably best just to take the outside. And so I'm going to attach to this stone. The theme of this game seems to be attaching to strong stones. So we are treating G3 as a strong stone. And so we are attaching to it to try to get strength for ourselves, as well as overconcentrate black. Black Hanes, which is the correct move, we will extend. And now H3 is a really important shape move, and it's one that black probably should have played. And so I'll extend one more time, see if black can find H3. They do not, but here, if we ignore this, now we're going to get hit on the head of 3. That's not the greatest, so I'm going to extend one more time. But now, Hane at the head of 4 is not a thing to be scared about. So we are going to come back and play H3 and fix this. Not that this was cut, but you can see we've got the same shape here. This J shape shows up a lot. And here, black slinks to the second line because they were worried about the G3 stone. So I am going to play H2. This breaks a rule again. We can kind of treat this more like a teaching game, where I can give my opponent opportunities to find big moves. Again, this move is one that we would not play because it breaks the rule of no early second line moves. It's still a little too early on this board to be playing second line moves. This group was perfectly strong. It didn't need the help. But let's see where our friend plays now. And our friend plays here. It's a little unfortunate. He was looking to protect this cut, but the cut was already protected. So this was not necessary. So yet again, we are getting Sente on a fairly open board. We could look at invading on the right. We could look at building this. We could look at building this. I'm just going to keep things very simple. I'm going to play here. This is a fairly slow move, but it does secure some more points on the left side. And again, gives our opponent an opportunity to find a large move. And they play here, kind of matching our move. And so our opponent's kind of following us around as well. And so this can kind of highlight one of the issues that shows up in our games a lot, which is a term we refer to as puppy go, which is basically our opponents just follow us around like a puppy. Or when we're doing it, we're following around our opponent like a lost puppy. And it's like, oh, you played over there? I'm going to play over there too. And it's like, oh, you played over there? I'm going to play over there too. The issue with that is when there is a big area, the first person to play there gets the most of the points, and then the second person gets fewer points. So here I'm just going to extend, make this a little stronger to continue my previous point. So if you're always following your opponent around, you're always getting the second best move in an area. So your opponent's getting the best move, and then you're getting the second best move. And so you're falling behind every single move. Okay, so here our opponent finally closed this off. This is fine. This can still be reduced by playing some fourth line moves. But here, we've got this cut. It's not really dangerous, but I really want to protect it. So I'm going to protect this cut. It connects our groups up. It surrounds black. You know, if you're surrounding your opponent, then things are going fairly well. Black finally takes this Atari. We are absolutely going to connect. And then black extends here. So this looks to, you know, extend their group a little, while also threatens something here. C13 would be a fairly annoying move. So I am going to respond because I don't like the way that move looks if we were able to give them C13. So we're just going to block it. It does attach to the stone. Again, I'm treating this as a strong stone, so we are allowed to attach to it. And then black extends. This is not Sente, okay? Black pushing through is not an issue. So we could yet again take another free move on this board, but I am going to just block to see where black plays. But again, we could have played a move like M8 or P14, take another just large move on this board. And so black plays here, but this doesn't really get many points. There's much more potential over here for both players. If black gets a move like N5 that stunts what my group can do and grows what their group can do. And so this is the area that we want to play. So I think I'm just going to play M7, try to grow our potential here, stunt our opponent's potential there. And that's really what we're doing here is we're seeing where the potential is, where the big areas on the board are, and we're going after them. And so black extends, but this is a really small extension off of 4 stones, right? Black's very over-concentrated. So we're able to play this and push into their potential while growing ours. And you can see that as black is growing off of these 4 stones, their stones are only 3 spaces away, as we're extending off of these 4 stones. We're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away. So we are getting the better end of this deal. And here, we're now getting to the point where second line moves are becoming large enough. We know it, like we've got the rule for a good reason, but at a certain point in time, second line moves do start becoming large. M2 or N2 both are quite large moves. So we are going to take this now. After the dust settles here, the potential here will probably be the last area we fight over here and here. You know, where are the borders going to be drawn? So black extends here, you know, really sealing this in. Our group is nice and safe. And so now we can start looking at closing, you know, reducing this. So we can look at a move like this to grow our potential. We can look to a move like this to reduce our opponents. And so let's do this. The other ones we had been growing our potential. So let's play this move to reduce our opponent's potential. And if black does not respond to this, then we get to push in. So black extended up, perfectly fine move. We get to jump now. We could also extend, both are acceptable, but the jump just goes that little bit faster. And then black plays here. Seems a little, that stone seems a little lost, but it does look to break into this. So now we'll play here. This looks to grow our potential and to link up with these stones. And then black plays here. Black looks like they are trying to get some territory here. That is perfectly fine. We'll just poke in and reduce here. Black will most likely block. We can extend to look to reduce this. Black will most likely Hane. And at this point, we're pretty much at endgame. We want to close this border off. We want to close this border off. So let's play here to make sure that black can't invade and or reduce this. And then we can look at endgame moves. We'll close this one off as well, though we really don't have a great shape move for it. So let's play here. We'll just butt up against this stone, and whatever direction they move, we'll move in that direction, and that'll naturally build us a wall. This stops black from trying something like N15. Okay, so black played this way. Like I said, whatever direction black played, we will play that way and build our wall. So we've got some mutual building going on. Here, this move did not get responded to. We're already strong here. So let's go and push this way. And we can take the Hane as well because our group is perfectly strong enough. We do not have to worry about this cut at all. And then black extends. We can look at this Hane here. It's something I've been eyeing for a bit. It's got some sneakiness. And I'm curious if you guys see the sneakiness that this does. I'm not going to play the sneakiness. I'm not going to point it out. But your question is, what sneakiness did this do? And was this move necessary? Does this move even fix the sneakiness? That is my question to you guys. So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Okay, just going to play here, fully close this off, and then we're going to properly transition into endgame, and so we'll be looking for the large endgame moves. We have G1 is probably the largest endgame move here because it's double Sente. If I play it, it ends in Sente for us. If our opponent had played it, it ends in Sente for them. And so double Sente moves are very important. If there are no more double Sente moves, then you look for Sente moves. In this case, we have A7, which is a nice Sente move. And so we will connect, and there is a cut that our opponent needs to respond to. Do we have any more Sente moves? I do not see any large Sente moves, but I see moves that our opponent has that would be Sente, such as D19. So we'll go play E19. This is called reverse Sente because it takes away a Sente move from our opponent. Our opponent plays here, which is Sente, because otherwise we lose these 3 stones. So we will respond here. So it's our opponent's turn to find their Sente endgame moves. And so our opponent could look at Q1, F19, something like J8. Those are all endgame, all Sente endgame moves. So our opponent did find one of them. A move like R15 is also Sente. P14. P14 looks pretty big. This as well. So our opponent is doing a great job of finding those endgame moves. This is absolutely Sente, and it's a good move. Do we just want to connect or potentially even play here? We will do the simple block, and we'll see how our friend follows this up. They should follow it up. Yep, they can do that. So interestingly, while this stone is being threatened, I actually think extending here is bigger because we have this potential cut. So black can peep. It actually gets quite nasty. So we are going to extend here and let black capture this stone. And so we play here and black captures. Black extends. That's a little unfortunate. If black had captured, it would have ended in Sente for black. But now we get to extend and block this off in Sente. So black missed one there. We can push here, which black is going to want to block. We can push here, which black is going to want to block. And at this point, I think things are pretty much mostly settled. So I think I'm going to skip to the end of the game, and I will see you guys there. Okay, so here we are at the end of this game. And I think this one mostly came down to our opponent giving us a few too many Sente moves. So let's take a look at the review now and see where our opponent could have done better. Okay, so here we are in the review, and everything starts off fine. We do some variations that we all know and love. And then we get this move. It's playable, but you know, typically we're going to be playing the small knights move off of the 3/4 stone, but we can look at any of these 4. They are all fine options, but C4 isn't really, you know, it's not a huge mistake. We're not going to lose games because of it. I think black blocked the correct way here. I think all of this is fine. And then this, unfortunately, is a little slow. I think this is too early for a second line move. It does threaten to kill our group, but we're just going to respond to it. And so R2 really isn't the problem. Because like I said, black can Tanuki from this. Black could look at playing this, which is potentially too close to strength. Black could look at this, but this is a difficult situation to handle. Where would I play as black? I probably would play L3 and see if we can develop something here. But it is a little tricky. In this situation, white could connect and black could Hane, and then white would extend, and black is pretty over concentrated here, so this is a difficult move to respond to. It's worth pointing out, somebody had made a viewer had made a comment where when I go through this, let's not just show the moves that my opponent could have made, but how those follow-ups would be. So like I said, if black played here, I would expect to do this and get this shape. You'll notice I like this shape. It's a nice healthy shape. But anyway, black played here, which unfortunately gave us another move. This was a test. Black should ignore this move, but black didn't, and so we extended, and black played here. It's reasonable, but it's small. Black is nice and healthy here. Black's nice and healthy here. So I think we'd be looking for big moves on this board. So probably something on the left. Black could look at this, or this, or if black just wanted to extend, this would, all fine options. This isn't like a tiny move, it's just not as big as it could have been. So we go take the side, black turns here, and that's fine. But it's not sente, right? I say it's fine, it's not fine. It's a gote move, right? And so this was one of the first big mistakes. Now, between this and P2, white has now gotten 2 free moves on this board. And this is how we start falling behind, right? We play these early second line moves, and our opponent goes and plays elsewhere on the board. So while black got P2 and S8, white has gotten M4 and K17, much larger moves. So black plays here. This is a little unfortunate. The reason it's a little unfortunate is black, we attach to a stone. Black should respond to this. The other reason it's unfortunate is that I know for newer players, this isn't a move you guys are going to see too much, but this is a move that can be played. And it's not necessarily easy to answer this move. And a common mistake that we'll see is white can block this way. The problem with that is now black can play here, and white can't play this move because black gets this Atari into this Atari. So that doesn't work. So white actually needs to come back and play here. Now black can play here and threaten to connect up. And so then white has to block. And then even worse than that, later in the game, black can take this Atari and white can't extend because then white dies. And so white has to capture, and now black can play here. And it's like, where did white's corner go? White had put 3 stones into this corner. So the reason I'm talking about all of this is when black plays here, it forces white to fix it. Now all that Aji is gone. Typically here, I see black do this, but this is a mistake because it just forces white to take a large corner. But this does this anyway. So what black should have done, I think, is instead just Hane. White would probably extend, black would probably extend, white would Hane. And then black could look at something like this or just fixing the cut. But all of this moves in a better direction. We're getting nice strong 4th line moves as opposed to small 2nd line moves. And so we yet again get another sente. So here, black has now played 1, 2, 3 early 2nd line moves. And white has gotten 1, 2, I believe this was the 3rd stone out of the deal. Oh, nope, it was this one. So white has gotten these 3 stones for 3 small 2nd line moves. And so this is how black is falling behind, and yet again plays another early 2nd line move. Here, I think black just wants to jump out, potentially, or Tanuki. Black could look at something like this and try to develop the side. But black plays this, which fixes white's strength. And now we can see how over-concentrated black is here. If black's looking for points because they were playing all these 2nd line moves, they really only have about 6 points here, and forced us to get more than 6 points in the corner and more than 6 points in the side. So black is losing out on these exchanges. This move is fine. same thing here. I wouldn't respond to the second line move. I know it feels natural. You want to block, but white could just play something like this, and I don't think the stone's going to be easily contained. Or can do something like this. And if black attaches, then white can Hane, and if black cross cuts, then we get stuff like this. It's just not good. It's painful, right? So here, instead of doing this, if black wanted to do something here, maybe jump here, maybe play this into this. I could see that as an option, and then maybe jumping out to try to build this on a larger scale. Yes, that doesn't stop white from coming in, but this is too big of an area to hold with this stone here. So black plays here, and white gets another. So that's kind of the theme of this one. And now we transition into black responding to all of white's moves. You know, where we go over that puppy go, whereas wherever white played, black played as well. And it was just black is falling behind and further behind, because again, white is getting all of the big moves. So after this, you know, this was just a mistake because it protected a cut that didn't need protecting. Black should probably be looking at a move like this to try to develop this and reduce this. Again, white can still probably play here and mess this up, but it's building potential. We're not getting points from this move. We're building potential, because if white ignores this and plays a small move, now we can play a move like this, and this is kind of turning into points now. But playing this, unfortunately, was a big miss, gives us another free move, and then black is just following us here, which is pretty unfortunate. Plays this small move again. I would have rather have seen this here, but plays this, and we cover. And at this point, the game really is over. You know, white's probably up by 25 points or so, maybe a little more, and there really isn't much potential for black on this board. So unless white makes a blunder, which can happen, right? Blunders definitely happen in our games. But unless that happens, white's going to have an easy game with this one. And that's because at this point, white's pretty much gotten 4 free moves, and that's just too much. And so we need to address that earlier in the game. So I think that's where we're going to leave this review for today. Because yeah, you know, sometimes with games like these, it does get out of hand pretty quickly once, you know, a series of mistakes get made. That's kind of where we're at. And these are subtle mistakes, right? This isn't you played too aggressively and you get cut off and you know, and a group died and you know why you lost the game. These are the more subtle mistakes where you lose at the end of the game by a lot and go, what did I do wrong? Right? These are the tougher mistakes to find, these slow moves where we play these gote moves and our opponent gets all the big sente moves. So make sure you aren't following your opponent around. Don't play puppy go, and follow those basic rules so that you aren't playing these small gote moves while your opponent plays the nice efficient sente moves. So anyway, thank you guys for coming out for another ride in the Struggle Bus, where every wheel is an empty triangle. Have a good one, guys.